Wife never knew her billionaire husband is a snake until the day mirror revealed him. The mirror showed my husband's true face for the first time that night. Cold eyes, serpent smile, a stranger wearing the skin of the man I loved. But when I turned around to look at him directly, he looked normal. That's when I knew I had married a monster, and the mirror was the only thing telling me the truth. Welcome to Story TJ, where we bring you the most captivating tales of love, betrayal, and redemption from across Africa and beyond. I'm your host, and today's story will leave you speechless. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our dramatic stories. And to my loyal family who've been rocking with us, drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever discovered something shocking about someone you trusted? Let's get into this incredible story. My name is Amara Okonkwo, and for 3 years, I lived in a dream. A beautiful nightmare disguised as paradise. I lived in a massive penthouse in Ikoyi, Lagos, the kind of home you see in magazines. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. Italian marble floors. A walk-in closet bigger than most people's bedrooms. My husband, Daniel Okonkwo, was one of Nigeria's most successful businessmen. Oil, real estate, tech investments. The man had money that even money envied. Everyone called me lucky. Amara, you don't suffer finish. My friends would say, that your husband fine, him get money, and him day treat you like queen. And it was true. Daniel spoiled me. Hermes bags, private jets to Dubai, surprise trips to the Maldives. He would kiss my forehead every morning and whisper, "You're my world, Amara." But that night, October 15th, everything I believed shattered like glass. It started with small things I had ignored for too long. Daniel had become different, more aggressive. His voice sharper when he spoke on the phone behind closed doors. His eyes colder when he thought I wasn't watching. And the strangest thing? He avoided mirrors. I noticed it one evening when we were getting ready for a charity gala. I was standing in front of our bedroom mirror, adjusting my gold wrapper and gelly, when Daniel walked past quickly, his eyes deliberately turned away from his own reflection. "Baby, come help me with this?" I called, holding up my diamond necklace. He fastened it from behind me, but his eyes never met mine in the mirror. He looked at the floor, at the wall, anywhere but the glass. "Daniel, is everything okay?" I asked. "I'm fine," he said quickly. Too quickly. "Just tired from work." He kissed my shoulder and walked away, but something in my chest tightened. A warning I didn't yet understand. The night everything changed, I couldn't sleep. It was past midnight. Daniel was in his study, on another one of those mysterious phone calls he never explained. I lay in our king-sized bed, staring at the ceiling, when I remembered I had left my phone charging in the walk-in closet. I slipped out of bed, my silk nightgown whispering against my skin as I padded barefoot across the cool marble floor. The closet was massive. Rows of designer clothes, shoe racks that stretched like a boutique, and at the far end, a smart mirror Daniel had installed 2 months ago. It was one of those high-tech mirrors that could show the weather, play music, even record videos. Daniel said it was a gift. "Only the best for my queen," he had said. But I had noticed he never used it, never even looked at it. I grabbed my phone from the charging station and turned to leave. That's when the mirror flickered. At first, I thought it was a power glitch. The screen flashed once, twice. Then it stabilized, showing my reflection clearly. My dark brown skin glowing in the closet's soft light, my braids falling over my shoulders. But something was wrong. In the mirror, I could see the closet doorway behind me. And standing there, partially visible, was Daniel. My heart jumped. I spun around. No one was there. I turned back to the mirror. Daniel was still there in the reflection, standing in the doorway, watching me. But when I looked at the actual doorway with my own eyes, it was empty. "What?" I whispered, and then I saw his face in the mirror. It wasn't the face of the man I married. His eyes were different, cold, calculating, reptilian. His expression twisted with something dark, something evil. His mouth moved, and though I heard no sound, I could read his lips clearly. "She's becoming a problem," I froze. My blood turned to ice. The reflection of Daniel tilted his head, and I watched in horror as he pulled out a phone I'd never seen before. Not his regular iPhone, but a cheap burner phone. He was speaking to someone, his face animated with anger, with cruelty. But when I spun around again to look at the real doorway, there was nothing. Silence. Empty space. I looked back at the mirror. The reflection showed Daniel clearly now, standing in the doorway, his hand gripping that burner phone. His face contorted in rage as he spoke to whoever was on the other end. And then, God help me, then the reflection did something that stopped my heart. Turned its head, slowly, deliberately, and looked directly at me, not at my reflection, at me. Its lips curved into a smile that held no warmth, only menace. I stumbled backward, my hand flying to my mouth to stop the scream building in my throat. My phone clattered to the floor. Amara? Daniel's real voice came from downstairs. Normal. Concerned. Baby, you okay? Couldn't breathe. Couldn't move. Couldn't process what I had just seen. The mirror flickered again and went dark, returning to its normal screensaver, the time and weather display. I stood there shaking, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst from my chest. Footsteps on the stairs. Daniel was coming. I grabbed my phone quickly and forced myself to breathe, to think, to act normal. Amara? He appeared in the bedroom doorway, the real doorway this time. He looked concerned, handsome, perfectly normal. The loving husband everyone believed him to be. I dropped my phone. I managed, my voice barely steady. Sorry if I woke you. You didn't. He walked toward me, and every instinct in my body screamed to run. But I stood my ground. Come back to bed, love. It's late. He took my hand, the same hand I'd held 1,000 times, but now it felt foreign, cold, wrong. As he led me back to our bed, I glanced once more at the walk-in closet, at that mirror standing silent and dark in the shadows. And I knew with absolute certainty that what I had seen was not a glitch. It was a warning. The mirror had shown me the truth. The man sleeping beside me every night, the man I called my husband, was not who he pretended to be. Daniel Okonkwo was a snake wearing a human face. And somehow, impossibly, only the mirror could reveal what he really was. I didn't sleep that night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw it, that reflection. Those cold, reptilian eyes staring directly at me through the mirror. The twisted smile that held nothing but malice. Daniel lay beside me, his breathing deep and steady. One arm draped across my waist like always. The perfect husband. The loving partner. But I couldn't stop my body from tensing every time he shifted in his sleep. By the time the sun rose over Lagos, painting our bedroom in shades of gold and orange, I had made a decision. I needed to know who Daniel really was. Not the man he showed the world. Not the billionaire philanthropist featured in This Day and Vanguard newspapers. The real Daniel. The one the mirror had revealed. I waited until Daniel left for his office in Victoria Island before I started searching. I'll be home by 7 p.m., he said, kissing my forehead at the door. He was dressed in a perfectly tailored navy suit. His cologne expensive and subtle. Maybe we can have dinner at that new restaurant in Lekki you've been talking about? That sounds perfect. I lied, forcing a smile. The moment his Mercedes drove out of the compound gates, I ran upstairs. My hands were shaking as I stood in front of the walk-in closet. The smart mirror stared back at me, its screen dark and innocent, showing only the time. 9:47 a.m. Show me, I whispered to it. Show me what he really is. Nothing happened. I touched the screen, swiped it, tried voice commands. Still nothing. The mirror remained stubbornly normal, reflecting only what any ordinary mirror would show. Maybe I had imagined it. Maybe the stress of... No, I knew what I saw. That was real. I took a deep breath and decided to search the old-fashioned way. Daniel's home study was off-limits. He'd told me that from the beginning of our marriage. It's just boring business papers, my love, he'd said with that charming smile. Nothing interesting, and some clients value their privacy. You understand, right? I had understood. I had been the trusting wife who never questioned, never snooped, never doubted. Not anymore. The study door was locked, but I knew where Daniel kept the spare key. Inside a fake book on the living room shelf. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. How fitting. My heart pounded as I unlocked the door and stepped inside. The study was exactly as I'd glimpsed it those few times Daniel had forgotten to close the door. Mahogany desk, leather chair, walls lined with law books and business journals. Everything perfectly organized. Everything controlled. I started with the desk drawers. The first two held exactly what you'd expect. Contracts, financial statements, business cards from CEOs and government officials. Everything legitimate. Everything clean. The third drawer was locked. I searched frantically for another key, checking under the desk, behind picture frames, inside book covers. Nothing. Then I remembered. Daniel wore a small key on his keychain. A key that didn't match our house, our cars, or his office. A key I'd asked about once. Just an old family safe, he'd said dismissively. Sentimental stuff from my parents. Daniel's parents. Now that I thought about it, I'd never met them. He said they died in a car accident before we met. No siblings. No cousins. No family at all. A man with no past. How had I never questioned that? I grabbed a letter opener from the desk and worked it into the lock. I'd watched enough YouTube videos to know the basics. After several minutes of fumbling, I heard a satisfying click. The drawer opened. Inside were 3 passports. My hands trembled as I picked up the first one. Daniel Okonkwo, it read. Nigerian passport. His picture stared back at me. But something about it looked slightly off. The smile too practiced. The eyes too empty. The second passport made my blood run cold. David Mensah. Ghanaian passport. Same face. Different name. The third passport. Daniel Cohn. Ivorian. Same face. Another identity. Oh God! I whispered. Beneath the passports were burner phones, 5 of them, all different models. Bank statements from accounts I'd never heard of. Cayman Islands. Switzerland. Dubai. And then I found the folder. It was plain manila, no label, tucked at the very back of the drawer. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped it as I pulled it out. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. Women. Beautiful women of different nationalities. And beside each photograph, a handwritten note. Sarah Mitchell, London, £2.3 million. Completed. Amina Hassan, Dubai, $4.1 million. Completed. Chun Wei, Singapore, $3.8 million. Completed. There were more. So many more. Each woman's photo marked with an amount of money and the word, completed. I flipped through them, my stomach churning, until I reached the last page. My wedding photo stared back at me. Beneath it, in Daniel's neat handwriting, Amara Okonkwo, Lagos, 850 million Nigerian nairas plus properties in progress. Timeline, 36 months. Exit date, January 2025. My vision blurred. The paper slipped from my fingers. January 2025. That was 3 months away. 3 months until Daniel planned to make me disappear, just like all those other women. I don't know how long I sat on the floor of that study, surrounded by evidence of my husband's lies. Minutes? Hours? All I knew was that the man I'd married didn't exist. Daniel Okonkwo was a fiction. A character played by a con artist who seduced wealthy women, married them, drained their resources, and then... what? Killed them? Made them vanish? My father had been a successful contractor before he died. He'd left me his properties, his investments, his entire estate. I was worth nearly £1 billion before I even met Daniel. I thought Daniel married me for love. That his wealth meant he didn't need mine. How stupid I'd been. A sound made me freeze. The front door. Opening downstairs. Amara? Baby, I'm home. I forgot my iPad. Daniel's voice. Cheerful. Normal. Loving. But now I heard the lie in every word. Panic seized me. I scrambled to put everything back. The passports, the phones, the folder. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. The photos scattered across the floor. Amara? Where are you? His footsteps on the stairs. I shoved everything into the drawer, locked it, and ran to the door. But I'd left the study door open. No time to lock it. I stepped into the hallway just as Daniel reached the top of the stairs. He stopped. His eyes went from me to the open study door behind me. For one terrible moment, his mask slipped. His face went cold. Those same reptilian eyes from the mirror fixed on me with an intensity that made my blood freeze. Then he smiled. Warm. Concerned. The loving husband returning. Baby, what are you doing up here? I thought you'd be in the kitchen. You know I don't like anyone in my study. I was looking for a pen. I stammered. I was making a shopping list and a pen. He walked toward me slowly. Too slowly. There are pens everywhere in this house, Amara. Why would you need to come to my study? I wasn't thinking. I'm sorry. I didn't touch anything. He was close now. So close I could smell his cologne. See the calculation behind his eyes as he studied my face, searching for the truth. Of course you didn't, he said softly. His hand came up to cup my cheek. You're my good wife, my honest wife. You would never lie to me, would you? Never, I whispered. Good. He kissed my forehead. Because you know I can always tell when someone is lying to me. It's a gift I have. He held my gaze for another moment, then stepped past me into his study. I heard him moving around inside, checking, searching for evidence of my intrusion. I forced my legs to move, to walk down the stairs, to breathe normally even though my heart was trying to break through my ribcage. In the kitchen, I gripped the marble counter and fought the urge to vomit. I had 36 months when this started. Now I had 3 months left. 3 months before Daniel planned to complete me like all the others. Unless I found a way to escape first. Can you imagine discovering your entire marriage was a lie? That you were nothing but a target? Drop a comment and let me know what you think Amara should do next. And make sure you're subscribed to TJ Stories because Chapter 3 is going to reveal even more shocking secrets about Daniel's true identity. You won't believe what Amara discovers next. Hit that like button and I'll see you in the next chapter. Beautiful souls. For 3 days, I pretended everything was normal. I smiled at Daniel over breakfast, laughed at his jokes, let him hold me at night while my skin crawled with revulsion. Every kiss felt like poison. Every touch felt like a countdown. 3 months. That's all I had. But I wasn't going to be another one of his completed victims. I was going to fight back. The problem was I didn't know how. Daniel was always watching, always present. The few times I tried to slip away to make a private phone call, he would appear, coincidentally needing something, asking where I was going, offering to accompany me. It was like he could sense when I was planning something. Or maybe he already suspected I knew. On the 4th day, Daniel announced he had to travel to Abuja for a business meeting. Just 2 days, my love, he said, packing his Louis Vuitton travel bag. I'll be back Friday evening. Will you be okay here alone? Alone. The word sounded like freedom. Of course, I said, helping him choose a tie. I'll probably just catch up with Zainab and Funk. Maybe do some shopping. Good. He pulled me close, his hands on my waist. You deserve to relax. You've seemed stressed lately. Because I'm married to a serial con artist planning to kill me, I thought. But I smiled and said, just tired. Nothing serious. He studied my face for a long moment, then kissed me. I love you, Amara. I love you too. The lie tasted bitter on my tongue. The moment Daniel's car pulled out of the compound, I ran upstairs to the walk-in closet. The smart mirror stood silent and dark, its screen showing the weather. Partly cloudy, 29 degrees. Typical Lagos heat. Please, I whispered to it. Show me the truth again. Show me what he really is. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the screen flickered. My heart jumped. The weather display disappeared, replaced by grainy security footage. But this wasn't footage from our house cameras. I checked those already. This was something else. The video showed Daniel, or whatever his real name was, in what looked like a hotel room. But he wasn't alone. A woman sat across from him. She was Indian, beautiful, dressed in an expensive sari. Even through the grainy footage, I could see the hope in her eyes as she looked at Daniel. The love. The same look I'd had 3 years ago. Daniel was talking, gesturing smoothly. I couldn't hear the audio, but I watched as he took her hand, as he smiled that devastating smile, as he made her believe every word. Then the footage jumped forward. The same woman, months later perhaps. She looked different now, thinner, worried. Daniel was showing her papers, pointing at signatures. She was signing away everything. I realized with horror. Another jump. The woman was crying now, screaming at Daniel. He stood calmly, watching her fall apart with the expression of someone observing an insect. The final jump made me gasp. The woman was gone. Daniel stood in an empty apartment, a slight smile on his face, as he spoke on the phone. I could read his lips clearly. Yes, it's done. Transfer the amount to the usual account. No complications. She won't be a problem anymore. The footage ended. The mirror flickered again. More videos. More women. Each one following the same pattern. Seduction, marriage, manipulation, disappearance. Chun Wei from Singapore. Sarah Mitchell from London. Amina Hassan from Dubai. Blessing Adeyemi from Lagos. A woman I'd never seen in the folder. How many had there been? How many women had fallen for Daniel's lies before me? Oh God! I whispered, my hand over my mouth. The mirror showed one more video. This one was recent. I recognized the background, Daniel's study, filmed from an angle that must have been hidden in one of the bookshelves. Daniel sat at his desk, speaking on one of those burner phones. The timeline is too tight, he was saying. I know we agreed on 3 months, but she's getting suspicious. I can feel it. My blood ran cold. A voice crackled through the phone. Deep, authoritative. Then move up the timeline. We need those properties liquidated before December. The buyers are waiting. It's not that simple, Daniel argued. The Lagos properties are in both our names. If she disappears too suddenly, there will be questions. Investigations. Then make it look natural. You've done this before, Daniel. Or should I say David? Or was it Damien last time? The voice laughed cruelly. You have 1 month. Handle it. The call ended. In the video, Daniel sat back in his chair, rubbing his temples. For a moment he looked tired, human. Then he opened his laptop, and I watched him research something on the screen. The search terms made my stomach turn. Untraceable poisons Nigeria, / staged accidents Lagos, / missing person statistics Nigeria. The video ended. The mirror went dark. I stood frozen in that closet, my entire body shaking. 1 month. He'd moved up the timeline. I didn't have 3 months anymore. I had weeks, maybe days. I needed help. Real help. But who could I trust? Daniel had systematically isolated me over the years. My friends were surface-level lunch friends, shopping friends. Nobody I could tell that my billionaire husband was a serial con artist planning to kill me. The police? With Daniel's connections and money, he probably had half of the Lagos State Police Command in his pocket. My lawyer? Daniel had recommended him. They played golf together. I was alone. No, not completely alone. I remembered something my father used to say before he died. Amara, if you ever need real help, the kind the police can't give, call this man. He'd given me a business card. Private investigator. I thought it was paranoia at the time, my father being overprotective. Now I wondered if he'd somehow known. If he'd seen something in Daniel that I'd been too blind to see. I'd kept that card. It was hidden in my old jewelry box, beneath my mother's pearls. I found it within minutes. Lucas Okafor, Private Investigations. Truth has no agenda. My hands shook as I dialed the number on the card. It rang 3 times. Then a deep voice answered, Lucas Okafor. Mr. Okafor, my name is Amara Okonkwo. My father was Chief Okonkwo's daughter, Lucas interrupted. I remember your father well. Good man. I'm sorry for your loss. Thank you. Mr. Okafor, I need help. Urgent help. My husband. Not on this line. He cut in sharply. Where are you right now? Home, Akoi. But my husband is traveling. He'll be back Friday. Don't tell me your address. Meet me tomorrow, 2 p.m., Jazz Hole in Lekki. Come alone. Tell no one. And Mrs. Okonkwo. Yes. If your husband is who I think he is based on your father's warnings years ago, you're in more danger than you realize. Watch your back. The line went dead. I stood there, the phone trembling in my hand. My father had warned Lucas about Daniel? Years ago, before I'd even married him? What had my father known? A sound made me freeze. Footsteps. Downstairs. My heart stopped. Daniel wasn't supposed to be back until Friday. It was only Wednesday. Amara? His voice called up the stairs. Baby, the meeting was cancelled.
Surprise.
I'm home early. I looked at the phone in my hand. The call log showing Lucas's number. Delete it. Delete it now. I wiped the call history just as Daniel's footsteps reached the top of the stairs. When he appeared in the bedroom doorway, I was standing by the window, casual, normal. You're back early? I said, hoping he couldn't hear the panic in my voice. I missed you, he said, walking toward me. But his eyes swept the room, searching, suspicious. What were you doing? Just looking at the view, thinking about redecorating. He stopped in front of me, his hand reaching up to tuck a braid behind my ear. The gesture would have seemed tender to anyone watching. But I saw the calculation in his eyes, the suspicion. You look nervous, he said softly. Is everything all right? Perfect, I lied. Just surprised to see you. His thumb traced my jawline. You're a terrible liar, Amara. You always have been. It's one of the things I loved about you. Loved. Past tense. I'm not lying, I said. No. His grip on my chin tightened just slightly. Not enough to hurt, but enough to threaten. Then why does it feel like you're hiding something from me? We stood there, locked in a silent battle. His eyes searching mine, my heart hammering against my ribs. Then he smiled and released me. I'm just being paranoid. Forgive me. This business deal has me on edge. He kissed my forehead and walked away. But I saw him glance at my phone on the nightstand. Saw the wheels turning in his mind. Tomorrow I would meet Lucas. Tomorrow I would get answers. If I survived until tomorrow. That night, I lay awake beside Daniel, feeling the weight of his arm across my waist like a chain. The mirror in the closet flickered once in the darkness. A brief flash of light. When I looked, I saw my own reflection. But behind me, in the glass, Daniel's reflection was awake too, staring at me, watching. Even when he slept, part of him was always hunting. And I was running out of time. Thursday morning arrived with the kind of suffocating heat that made Lagos feel like it was wrapped in a wet blanket. But the weather was the least of my problems. Daniel didn't go to work. I'm taking the day off, he announced at breakfast, watching me over his cup of coffee. I thought we could spend some quality time together. Maybe drive to La Campagne Tropicana? Have lunch by the beach. My stomach dropped. The meeting with Lucas was at 2 p.m. in Lekki. If Daniel stayed home all day, I had no way of getting there. That sounds lovely, I said, forcing enthusiasm into my voice. But didn't you say you had that conference call with your investors at noon? Rescheduled it. His eyes never left my face. My wife is more important than any business deal. He was testing me. I could feel it. Every word, every gesture was a trap. You spoil me too much, I said, smiling. Let me just freshen up and we can go. Take your time, my love. As I stood to clear the breakfast plates, my phone buzzed on the table. A text message. Daniel's hand shot out, grabbing the phone before I could reach it. Let me see who's disturbing my wife so early, he said casually. My heart stopped. He looked at the screen. His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Something cold. It's Zainab, he said, handing me the phone. She wants to know if you're free for lunch today. I looked at the message. It was indeed from Zainab, my friend from university. But beneath her message was another notification. A reminder I'd set last night. 2 p.m., doctor's appointment, Lekki. Daniel had seen it. I knew he had. I forgot I scheduled a checkup, I said quickly. Female issues. Nothing serious. I can cancel if you want to spend the day together. He studied me for a long moment. No. Your health is important. What time is the appointment? 2 o'clock. I'll drive you. You don't have to. I insist. His smile was warm, but his eyes were ice. What kind of husband would I be if I didn't take care of my wife? I had 2 hours to figure out how to escape Daniel's surveillance and meet Lucas. In the bathroom, I texted Lucas from a number Daniel didn't know. My old phone from before we got married, hidden in my makeup drawer. Can't make 2 p.m. Husband suspicious. Will try to slip away. If I don't show, I'm in danger. The response came within seconds. Don't be a hero. If he suspects, play it safe. I'll come to you. What's your location? I couldn't risk giving him my home address. Not with Daniel watching everything. Meet me at Radisson Blu Hotel 6. 5 p.m. Women's restroom on lobby floor. Come alone. Understood. Be careful, Mrs. Okonkwo. Don't drink anything he gives you. Don't eat anything he prepares. Trust nothing. The message made my blood run cold. I deleted the conversation and hid the phone back in the makeup drawer. When I came out, Daniel was waiting in the bedroom, scrolling through his own phone. Ready? He asked. Actually, baby, I'm not feeling well. Maybe it's my period coming. Can we reschedule the beach? I think I just need to rest before the doctor's appointment. Concern crossed his face. Real or performed, I could no longer tell. Of course. Let me get you some painkillers. No. The word came out too sharp, too panicked. Daniel paused, his hand on the doorframe. No. I mean, I already took some. I just need to lie down for a bit. He walked back into the room slowly. Amara, you're acting very strange. First you're fine, then you're not. You jump when I offer to help. Are you sure there's nothing you want to tell me? This was it. The moment of truth. I could see it in his eyes. He knew something was wrong. He was circling, waiting for me to slip up, to give him a reason to move up his timeline even further. So I did the only thing I could think of. I burst into tears. I think I'm pregnant, I sobbed, covering my face with my hands. I took a test yesterday and it was positive, but I wanted to be sure before I told you. The doctor's appointment, it's to confirm. I'm scared. Daniel, what if something's wrong? What if I can't carry it? My mother had 3 miscarriages before she had me, and Daniel's arms were around me in an instant. SHHHH, it's okay. It's okay, my love. Why didn't you tell me? Because you're planning to kill me, I thought. Because a baby would complicate your exit strategy. Because I'm lying through my teeth. I didn't want to get your hopes up. I whispered against his chest. I felt his body tense. Felt the shift in his breathing. A baby. This changed everything for him, and we both knew it. We'll go to the doctor together, he said finally. We'll find out for sure. Okay, I said softly. I'd bought myself some time, but I'd also backed myself into a corner. There was no baby, and when the doctor's appointment revealed nothing, Daniel would know I'd lied. I had until 2 p.m. to figure out my next move. At 1:30 p.m., we got into Daniel's Mercedes. He drove, one hand on the steering wheel, the other resting on my thigh in what should have been a comforting gesture. But I couldn't stop thinking about Lucas's warning. Don't drink anything. Don't eat anything. Trust nothing. You're quiet, Daniel observed as we navigated through Lagos traffic. Just nervous about the appointment. There's nothing to be nervous about. His hand squeezed my thigh. Whatever happens, we'll handle it together. Together. As if we were a team. As if he hadn't been planning my death for months. We pulled up to a private clinic in Lekki, one of those expensive places where Nollywood actresses and politicians' wives went for discretion. I'll come in with you, Daniel said, unbuckling his seatbelt. No. I grabbed his arm. I mean, it's embarrassing. The examination and everything. Can you just wait in the car? Please. He looked at me for a long moment. All right, but text me if you need anything. I practically ran into the clinic. The receptionist looked up with a professional smile. Good afternoon. Do you have an appointment? Emergency, I said quickly, lowering my voice. I need to use your bathroom. And is there a back exit to this building? Her smile faltered. Madam, this is a clinic, not? I pulled out my wallet and placed 5 crisp 1,000 naira notes on her desk. Please, it's life or death. She looked at the money, then at my face. Whatever she saw there made her decision. Bathroom is down that hall. Back exit leads to the parking lot behind the building. There's a gate that opens to the main road. Thank you, I whispered. I went to the bathroom first, just in case Daniel somehow tracked how long I was inside. Then I slipped out the back exit. The Radisson Blu Hotel was 2 streets away. I could walk there in 5 minutes. I had maybe 15 minutes before Daniel started calling. My phone buzzed. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. I ignored it and walked faster. Lucas Okafor was waiting in the hotel lobby when I arrived, breathless and sweating. He was exactly what you'd expect from a private investigator. Mid-50s, gray stubble, sharp eyes that missed nothing. He wore a simple shirt and jeans, blending into the background perfectly. Mrs. Okonkwo, he said quietly. Women's restroom. 3rd stall. I'll have a female associate meet you there. I nodded and hurried to the bathroom. A woman in her 30s was waiting, leaning against the sink like she belonged there. Amara, Lucas's partner. We don't have much time, so talk fast. I told her everything. The mirror, the passports, the folder with the other women, the timeline, Daniel's phone call about moving up my completion date. Ada's expression grew darker with every word. Jesus Christ, she muttered when I finished. Mrs. Okonkwo, your husband is Daniel Okoro, real name as far as we can tell. He's wanted in 7 countries for fraud, identity theft, and suspected involvement in at least 12 missing persons cases. We've been tracking him for 3 years. My legs nearly gave out. 12 missing persons. 12 women like me who trusted him, loved him, and disappeared. My father, I whispered. He knew, didn't he? Ada nodded grimly. Your father hired Lucas to investigate Daniel before your wedding. Lucas found some irregularities but nothing concrete enough to prove. Your father was planning to confront you with the information, but he died before he could. Heart attack, the autopsy said. Heart attack, I repeated numbly. Or murder. We've wondered the same thing. The timing was convenient for Daniel. My father. Daniel had killed my father. I knew it with absolute certainty. What do? I asked, my voice breaking. How do I stop him? We've been trying to gather enough evidence to arrest him for months, Ada said. But he's slippery. Every trail goes cold. Every witness disappears or refuses to talk. That mirror you mentioned, if it's recording everything, that could be the evidence we need. My phone buzzed again. Multiple messages from Daniel. Baby, where are you? The receptionist said you left. Amara, answer your phone. If this is about the pregnancy, please talk to me. He knows I'm gone, I said, panic rising in my chest. Ada grabbed my shoulders. Listen to me carefully. Go back. Pretend the doctor confirmed the pregnancy. That will buy you time. He won't risk killing a pregnant woman because it complicates the investigation afterward. Meanwhile, Lucas and I will work on getting that mirror data and building a case. Can you do that? Go back to him? I felt sick. Sleep next to a man who killed my father? Who's planning to kill me? It's the only way to catch him. We need more time. Another text from Daniel. I'm coming to find you. Stay where you are. You have to go now, Ada urged. Out the back. There's a taxi stand 2 blocks east. Tell him you panicked and went for a walk. Apologize. Cry. Do whatever you have to do to make him believe you. She handed me a tiny device. This is a panic button. If you're in immediate danger, press it twice. We'll come. But Mrs. Okonkwo, Daniel is smart. If he even suspects you're working against him, he'll kill you immediately. Be careful. I took the device, slipped it into my bra, and ran. I found Daniel standing outside the clinic. His face a mask of fury barely contained beneath a veneer of concern. Amara! He grabbed my arms the moment he saw me. Where the hell were you?
I'm sorry, he sobbed.
I panicked. The receptionist told me. She said there might be complications. Couldn't breathe. I just started walking. I'm so sorry. His grip loosened slightly. What did the doctor say? This was it. The lie that would either save me or doom me.
I'm pregnant, he whispered.
8 weeks. But there are some concerns about my hormone levels. She wants me to come back next week for more tests. Daniel's face went through a series of expressions. Surprise, confusion, calculation, and finally, something that looked almost like genuine emotion. We're having a baby, he said softly. Yes. He pulled me into his arms, and over his shoulder, I saw my reflection in the clinic's glass doors. I looked terrified, but in that moment, I made a promise to myself. I would survive this. I would expose Daniel for what he was. I would make sure no other woman ended up in that folder marked completed, and I would make him pay for my father, even if it killed me. Oh my God. Can you believe Daniel might have killed Amara's father? And now she has to pretend to be pregnant to stay alive. This story is getting darker and more intense with every chapter. What would you do in Amara's situation? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to TJ Stories because chapter 5 is going to be explosive. Daniel is about to make his move, and Amara has to decide, run or fight. You absolutely cannot miss what happens next. See you in the next chapter. Beautiful souls. The pregnancy lie bought me 3 days. 3 days of Daniel treating me like fragile glass. 3 days of him preparing special meals, insisting I rest, canceling his business trips to stay close. 3 days of suffocating attention that felt more like surveillance than care. He was watching, always watching, and I was running out of time. On the 3rd night, Lucas called my hidden phone while Daniel was in the shower. We accessed the mirror's cloud storage, he said urgently. Mrs. Okonkwo, the evidence is overwhelming. We have footage of Daniel with at least 8 women, documented conversations about fraud, even video of him discussing disposal methods. But there's a problem. My heart sank. What problem? The mirror system has an automatic wipe function. In 72 hours, everything deletes unless we can physically retrieve the device. And there's something else. Daniel's been in contact with someone called the architect. We think he's the one orchestrating everything, providing Daniel with new identities, helping him disappear. If we don't move fast, they'll both vanish. What do you need me to do? Get the mirror out of that house. Bring it to us. We'll handle the rest. How? Daniel barely lets me out of his sight. Find a way. Because if you don't, Mrs. Okonkwo, you're going to be victim number 13. The call ended just as the shower turned off. I deleted the call log and slipped the phone back into its hiding place seconds before Daniel emerged, a towel wrapped around his waist. Who were you talking to? He asked casually. My blood froze. I wasn't talking to anyone. He walked closer, water still dripping from his hair. I heard your voice. I was reading something out loud, an article about pregnancy. Just nervous about the baby. Daniel studied me in that way that made me feel like an insect under a microscope. Then he smiled. You're a terrible liar, Amara. But I love that about you. You wear every emotion on your face. He kissed my forehead and climbed into bed. But I saw him glance at my makeup drawer. Saw the suspicion in his eyes. He knew about the phone. Or he would soon. I had to move tonight. At 2 a.m., I crept out of bed while Daniel slept. The smart mirror in the closet seemed to glow in the darkness, like it was waiting for me. I unplugged it carefully, the disconnect sound making my heart stop. Daniel stirred in bed but didn't wake. The mirror was heavier than I expected. I wrapped it in a bedsheet to muffle any sound and carried it toward the bedroom door. Going somewhere? I spun around. Daniel stood by the bed, shirtless, his face completely calm. But his eyes held murder. I couldn't sleep. I stammered. I was going to watch something in the living room. The light from my phone was bothering you. With the mirror? He tilted his head. Why would you need the mirror to watch something in the living room, Amara? My mind raced. No excuse would work. He knew. He'd known all along. When did you figure it out? I asked quietly. The mask dropped completely. The loving husband vanished, replaced by something cold and predatory. I've known since the first night you saw the reflection, Daniel said, walking toward me slowly. The mirror has sensors. It alerts me every time someone watches the recordings. I knew the moment you accessed them. Then why didn't you? Kill you immediately? He laughed. Because I wanted to see what you'd do. Who you'd contact. Whether you were smart enough to run or stupid enough to play detective. Turns out you were stupid. He was close now. Too close. I backed toward the door. The mirror clutched against my chest. Lucas Okafor, Daniel continued conversationally. Private investigator. Former police commissioner. Very inconvenient man. He's been tracking me for years. Did you really think I didn't know about your little meeting at the Radisson? My stomach dropped. How? I have eyes everywhere, Amara. The receptionist at the clinic? On my payroll. The taxi driver who took you to the hotel?
Mine.
Even Ada, Lucas's so-called partner? She's been feeding me information about their investigation for months. No. No. You're lying, I whispered. Am I? He pulled out his phone and played a video. It showed Ada in a car talking to someone off camera. Daniel's voice came through clearly. Make sure she thinks she's safe. Give her the panic button. Let her believe she has help. It makes the end so much sweeter when they realize they never had a chance. Ada's response. Understood. The payment. Already in your account. The video ended. I felt my world collapse. Lucas was real, but Ada was Daniel's spy. Everything I'd told her, every plan I'd made, Daniel had known. The pregnancy lie was clever though, Daniel admitted. It did buy you a few extra days. But then I found your hidden phone. Read all your messages. Very touching. Really, how desperate you were. Tears streamed down my face. Why? Why do this? You have money. You don't need. Need. He laughed again, the sound chilling. This was never about need. It's about the game, Amara. The seduction. The trust. The betrayal. Watching strong, intelligent women crumble when they realize they gave everything to a man who never existed. That's worth more than any amount of money. You're a monster.
I'm efficient.
He reached for the mirror. Now give that to me before you hurt yourself. I did the only thing I could think of. I ran. I bolted out the bedroom door, the mirror still in my arms, and sprinted down the stairs. Behind me, Daniel's footsteps were calm, unhurried. You can't outrun me, Amara. Where will you go? The gate is locked. The security guards work for me. The neighbors won't hear you scream. This house is your cage, and I've always had the keys. I reached the living room and kept going, heading for the kitchen. There had to be a way out. A weapon. Something. My hand found the knife block on the counter. Really? Daniel appeared in the kitchen doorway. You're going to stab me? My sweet, gentle Amara who cries at sad movies? You don't have it in you. Stay back, I warned, brandishing the knife with shaking hands. Or what? You'll defend yourself? That would require you to actually hurt someone, and we both know you're too soft for that. This is why I chose you. Soft women are easy to break. He lunged. I swung the knife. The blade caught his arm, drawing blood. Daniel looked at the wound in genuine surprise. You actually... I didn't wait. I ran again, this time toward the back door that led to the service quarters. If I could reach the gate on that side, if I could get to the main road. Amara! Daniel's roar followed me into the night. I ran through the dark compound, my bare feet slapping against concrete. The mirror clutched against my chest like a lifeline. Behind me, I could hear Daniel giving orders to the security guards. Find her. Lock down all exits. Don't hurt her. I want that pleasure myself. The back gate was ahead. Locked as expected. But the fence, maybe I could climb it. I set the mirror down carefully and started climbing, my fingers finding purchase in the concrete blocks. Almost there. Almost. Hands grabbed my ankle and yanked. I fell hard. The air knocked from my lungs. Daniel stood over me, blood dripping from his arm, his face twisted with rage. "That," he said quietly, "was a mistake." He dragged me back toward the house, and I knew this was it. This was the night I became victim number 13. Unless I found one more card to play. "Wait," I gasped. "The mirror, I sent copies. Cloud backup. If anything happens to me, everything goes public." Daniel paused. "You're lying." "Am I?" Lucas showed me how. Automatic upload to multiple servers. Police, media, international investigators. If I don't check in every 12 hours, it all releases. It was a complete bluff. But Daniel's face showed uncertainty for the first time. "Prove it," he demanded. "Let me go, and I'll show you the cancellation codes." We stood there in the darkness, locked in a deadly negotiation. Then Daniel smiled, the coldest smile I'd ever seen. "Nice try, Amara, but I know you too well. You're not that smart." He pulled me toward the house, and somewhere in the distance I heard sirens. But whether they were coming for me or Daniel, I had no idea. The sirens grew louder. Daniel's grip on my arm tightened as he dragged me back into the house, his eyes darting toward the front gate where red and blue lights were beginning to flash through the darkness. "What did you do?" he hissed. "I told you," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "I'm not as stupid as you think." He shoved me against the wall, his face inches from mine. "Those sirens mean nothing. I own half the police in this city. Whatever you think you've set in motion, I can stop it with one phone call." "Then make the call," I challenged. For the first time since I'd known him, Daniel looked uncertain. The doorbell rang. Heavy, authoritative knocking followed. "Daniel Okoro, this is the Nigerian police force. Open the door." Daniel's eyes widened. Not Okonkwo. They called him Okoro, his real name. They knew. "How?" he whispered, genuine shock on his face. I allowed myself a small, bitter smile. "You were right about one thing. I'm not smart enough to outsmart you alone. But you forgot something important." "What?" "My father taught me to always have a backup plan. 30 minutes earlier." What Daniel didn't know, what Ada didn't know because I'd never told her, was that I'd made a second call before meeting her at the hotel, to Lucas's personal mobile. The real Lucas, not through Ada. I told him everything, including my suspicions that we were being watched. Lucas had been a police commissioner for 20 years. He knew how to spot a rat. "If Ada's compromised," he'd said, "then we play a different game. You go back to Daniel. Act normal. And you trust that I'm working on something bigger." "What if I don't survive long enough?" I'd asked. "Then you fight like hell, Mrs. Okonkwo. And you remember, your father didn't raise a victim." Lucas had spent the last 3 days building a case through legitimate channels. While Ada fed Daniel false information about their investigation, Lucas had been working with Interpol, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, and investigators from 7 different countries. And he'd hacked the Mirror's cloud system himself, bypassing the deletion protocol. Every conversation, every crime, every woman, all of it preserved, all of it documented, all of it sent to international authorities with a timer. If I didn't check in by 2:30 a.m., everything went public. It was now 2:32 a.m., and the world was learning the truth about Daniel Okoro. Present. The pounding on the door intensified. "Daniel Okoro, we have a warrant for your arrest. Open this door or we will breach." Daniel's mask of control was crumbling. He released me and ran toward his study, probably to destroy evidence, to grab his fake passports, to execute whatever escape plan he'd prepared for this scenario. But he'd forgotten about the mirror. I picked it up from where I'd dropped it in the living room and set it on the coffee table. The screen flickered to life without me touching it. And what I saw made my blood run cold. The mirror wasn't just showing recordings anymore. It was showing live footage from cameras I didn't know existed. Hidden throughout the house, in every room, capturing everything. On the screen, I watched Daniel in his study, frantically opening the locked drawer. But the passports were gone. The burner phones were gone. The folder with all his victims gone. "Looking for these?" Lucas's voice came from the mirror's speakers. Daniel spun around, staring at the hidden camera he'd never known was there. Lucas continued. We removed everything 2 days ago while you slept. Your security guards? The real ones quit last week. The ones working tonight are undercover police. Your escape routes? Blocked. Your offshore accounts? Frozen. Your associate, the architect? Already in custody in Switzerland. Daniel's face went white. It's over, Daniel. Or should I say David? Or Damien? Or any of the other 12 names you've used. The front door burst open. Police flooded into the house, their boots thundering across the marble floors. Daniel made one last desperate move. He pulled a gun from his desk drawer. A gun I'd never known existed. Get back! He screamed, running toward the living room where I stood. Everyone get back or I'll. He stopped dead when he saw me. I was standing in front of the mirror, and in the reflection, something impossible was happening. The mirror showed not just my reflection, but the reflections of all the women Daniel had destroyed. They stood behind me like ghosts. Sarah, Amina, Chunwei, Blessing, and 8 others whose names I'd learned from Lucas's files. What the hell? Daniel whispered. They want justice, I said quietly. And so do I. The mirror's screen brightened, and suddenly it was projecting, casting images across the walls, the ceiling, everywhere. Video footage of Daniel's crimes played in surround sound. His voice, his face, his cold confessions about each woman he'd destroyed. Police officers stopped, watching in horror as the evidence displayed itself. That's doctored, Daniel shouted. Fake. She's setting me up. We have the original files, Lucas said, walking into the house flanked by EFCC agents, authenticated by 3 independent forensic experts, plus testimony from 17 witnesses you thought you'd silenced, plus bank records, forged documents, and communications with criminal networks across 4 continents. Lucas looked at me. Are you all right, Mrs. Okonkwo? I nodded, tears streaming down my face. She's lying, Daniel screamed, waving the gun wildly. She's my wife. She's pregnant with my child. She wouldn't. I'm not pregnant, I said, my voice cutting through his panic. I was never pregnant. That was a lie to buy time. Just like our entire marriage was a lie to steal everything my father built. Daniel's face twisted with rage. He raised the gun toward me. If I can't have it, then you. He never finished the sentence. The mirror exploded. Not literally, but every screen in it shattered outward, and in that moment of distraction, 3 officers tackled Daniel to the ground. The gun clattered across the floor. Daniel fought like an animal, screaming, clawing, but it was useless. They handcuffed him, dragged him to his feet. As they led him past me, he spat. You think you've won? I'll be out in 6 months. My lawyers. Your lawyers abandoned you 3 hours ago when the international warrants went public, Lucas said calmly. You're looking at life imprisonment in Nigeria, followed by extradition to 6 other countries. You'll die in prison, Daniel, just like you deserve. For the first time, Daniel looked truly afraid. As they dragged him toward the door, he looked back at me one last time. I did love you, you know, in my own way. No, I said. You loved what I represented. Money, status, another trophy for your collection. But you never saw me, the real me, the woman my father raised to be strong, to be smart, to never give up. Your father was a fool who. My father was twice the man you'll ever be. And yes, I know you killed him. The autopsy is being re-examined as we speak. They'll add murder to your charges. Daniel's face went gray. They dragged him out into the night, his screams fading as they put him in the police van. The house felt different after he was gone. Lighter somehow, despite everything that had happened. Lucas approached me carefully. Mrs. Okonkwo, I need to apologize. Ada. I know, I interrupted. She was working for him. We arrested her 20 minutes ago. She's confessed to everything, hoping for a reduced sentence. He paused. I should have vetted her better. I put you in danger. You saved my life, I said simply. Everything else is just details. He smiled, a sad, tired smile. Your father would be proud of you. Those words broke something in me. I collapsed into tears. All the fear, all the rage, all the grief I'd been holding back for days pouring out. Lucas stood there awkwardly, then gently patted my shoulder. You're safe now. He can't hurt you anymore. 3 months later, I sold the Okoye house. I couldn't live in that cage anymore, surrounded by memories of lies. The courts froze all of Daniel's assets while they sorted out what was legitimately his and what he'd stolen. Turned out, almost everything was stolen or obtained through fraud. His billionaire status was as fake as his name. My father's properties, the ones Daniel had planned to liquidate, remained mine. I used some of the money to establish a foundation, the Chief Okonkwo Foundation for Fraud Victims. We helped women who'd been scammed, manipulated, financially abused. We provided legal support, counseling, temporary housing. Everything I wish I'd had when I'd first discovered the truth. The mirror, the smart mirror that had saved my life, sat in Lucas's evidence room. He told me it would eventually be destroyed after the trials concluded. But sometimes, late at night, he said the mirror still flickered on by itself. Still showed images of those 13 women Daniel had targeted. 12 who didn't survive to see justice. And 1 who did. I visited my father's grave on a Sunday morning, bringing his favorite flowers, yellow roses. I did it, Daddy, I whispered, kneeling by his headstone. I stopped him. Daniel is in prison. The investigation exposed his entire network. The architect, Ada, 3 corrupt police officers, 2 judges. They're all facing charges. The wind rustled through the trees, and for a moment, I could almost feel my father's hand on my shoulder. You were right to warn Lucas about him. Right to suspect. I'm sorry I didn't listen. I'm sorry I thought love was enough. I wiped my tears. But I'm not sorry I survived. I'm not sorry I fought back. I stood, straightening my dress. And Daddy? I promise, no woman will ever face what I faced and feel alone. Not while I'm breathing. As I walked back to my car, my phone rang. Lucas. Mrs. Okonkwo, you need to see this. Daniel's trial started today. He tried to represent himself, claimed everything was fabricated. But then something happened. What? The courtroom has a reflective wall, one-way mirror for security. And when Daniel looked at it during his testimony, the mirror, it showed something different than what he was saying. The judge saw it. The jury saw it. It was like the mirror itself was testifying against him. I smiled. Good. There's something else. We found another woman, number 14. She's alive. She was his next target after you. Young, wealthy, Nigerian woman living in Abuja. Your foundation's work tipped her off. She reported him to authorities before he could make contact. My chest tightened with emotion. We saved her. You saved her, Mrs. Okonkwo. Your courage, your testimony, your foundation. It's making a real difference. After the call ended, I sat in my car for a moment, looking at my reflection in the rearview mirror. I saw a different woman than the one who'd married Daniel 3 years ago. Stronger, wiser, scarred but unbroken. A mirror doesn't just show your face, I whispered, remembering. Sometimes, it reveals the monster standing right beside you. But sometimes, I realized, it also reveals the warrior you become when you refuse to be a victim. I started the car and drove away from the cemetery, toward the foundation office, toward the work that gave my nightmare meaning. Daniel Okonkwo had tried to destroy me. Instead, he'd created something he never expected. A woman who would make damn sure no one else suffered what she did. And in the end, that was the greatest revenge of all. In a maximum security prison in Kirikiri, Lagos, Daniel Okonkwo sat in his cell, staring at the small, scratched mirror bolted to the wall. His reflection stared back. But sometimes, late at night when the guards weren't watching, the reflection smiled differently than Daniel did. And in those moments, Daniel Okonkwo understood true fear. Because mirrors remember, and they never forgive. Wow, what a journey, beautiful souls. From the terrifying first night Amara saw the truth in the mirror, to Daniel's arrest and ultimate justice. This story had everything. Betrayal, courage, revenge, and redemption. What did you think of this ending? Did Amara get the justice she deserved? Should she have done something different? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below. And listen, if this story touched you, if you felt Amara's pain and celebrated her victory, do me a huge favor. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Someone who might be in a difficult relationship. Someone who needs to remember that they are stronger than they know. Subscribe to TJ Stories for more incredible tales of love, betrayal, and triumph. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a story. And to my loyal family who've been here from chapter 1 to chapter 6, thank you. Your comments, your support, your engagement keeps this channel alive. Remember, you are never trapped. You are never alone. And you are always stronger than you think. Until the next story, beautiful souls, stay strong, stay blessed, and keep fighting for your truth. This is TJ Stories signing off.